Good evening. We begin tonight with The Talk with Matthew, Michael, Jasmine and Chrisi talking about stereotypes and whether there is such a thing as gaydar. And then in lip service, Simon, Anthony, Leanne and Craig discuss texting relationships, random insecurities and co-worker affairs. And then we finish tonight with Staying Alive with David, Gordon, Leanne and Greg discussing the services available for people living alone and how best to find out about them.
Hi everyone, welcome to Bent TV. This is The Talk, where we essentially talk about issues that affect sex and gender diverse young people. You know, parents give, or a lot of people think that parents give their children, you know, the talk when they're younger about sex or the birds and the bees, but that's usually reserved exclusively for straight people, and queer people don't really get that at all. So I thought we'd just talk about issues that affect young queer people. So today I'm joined by Michael, Jasmine and Chrisi. And we're just going to focus on a particular topic today and just discuss it. So today we're talking about this idea about stereotypes, more particularly about the idea about people having a gaydar. So I guess I just wanted to ask you guys, you know, is the idea of a gaydar legitimate? Like, you know, can people actually have a gaydar, or is this just a way of pandering to stereotypes?
I totally think a gaydar is a thing. Like, I think there's like myth in the gay community where like, oh, like, you know, you can't tell if someone's gay, like, you know, like, and you just see like the swishiest queen and you're just like, no, like, he could be straight, and it's just like, okay, like, gay, like, mannerisms, like, exist, like, it's okay, and I feel like there's this, like, underlying homophobia about that as well, where it's like, you know, like, I can say that, like, my voice kind of reads as gay, like, the way I kind of move my hands, like, right now is, like, gay, the way I walk is gay, and I think but it's okay, like, there's nothing wrong with me walking or sounding gay, and like, you know, you grow up in like policing these things, like, we're totally aware of it. Like, I was aware that my voice was gay and I walked gaily or whatever, and it was trying to police that, but... Well,
then to play devil's advocate, in that instance, like, if someone had those attributes that would be considered perhaps stereotypically gay, but they weren't gay, does that make the idea of, you know, seeing someone that way, even if they potentially might not be, problematic, or is that still...
Yes, gaydar exists. My thing is that people that get offended by the notion of gaydar, I feel like it's all about this whole homophobia. Yeah, it's homophobia, that's what it is. Like, if you're not gay and I read you as gay, you shouldn't be offended. Why are you being offended that I think you're gay? Yeah. That to me is what it comes down to. Because yeah, if you see a straight man wearing a pink t-shirt, unfortunately we live in a society where men are not allowed to like pink, the colour pink. In fact, one of my brothers growing up loved the colour pink. Until he was told that that's not what a boy should like. So he, you know, immediately stopped liking that. But what I was trying to say is that if someone's wearing pink and you read them as pink, as being gay, and he's not gay, why are you going to get offended?
Take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Why does it matter? So I think that's what it comes down to. But you're right, you're totally right. We do, a lot of the times, when you'll say, oh, I think he's gay, you are kind of picking up on stereotypes, which do have some truth to it.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with those particular stereotypes. Like, as I said, there's nothing wrong with like kind of acting or sounding gay, you know, so why is it a bad thing if someone reads you as gay? But it is also like a kind of a survival technique, this like gaydar, of like picking up these little things of like, not just policing yourself of like, how do I pass as straight or cisgender or whatever in order to kind of navigate this heterosexist world, like, it's also like kind of reading other people as like same as you, you know, so you can like kind of create this community.
What do you think, Jasmine? I mean, I was referring specifically to like gay men, you know, this idea of a gaydar, but even more broadly, you know, women, you know, identifying someone that you don't even know as perhaps lesbian or just not straight.
I do think it exists, of course. I find issue with it when it comes to women. Femme visibility is a real thing. Yeah, so people won't look at me and think, oh, like, she's gay, like, unless I purposefully, like, pick out someone I was interested in and try to, like, prolong eye contact and, like, do all the things that, like, lesbians are supposed to do when it comes to, like, making yourself known. Because I don't rock rainbow, I don't rock, like, I'm not butch, obviously. So, yeah, I think I'm often overlooked and pretty invisible when it comes to people's gaydars. Whenever I like introduce my girlfriend or say like, oh, you know, come out to someone, they're like, oh, like I wouldn't have pegged you as being that way. It's okay with me, you know. And
I mean, is that kind of problematic? Because that can apply to gay men as well. If someone doesn't identify as being stereotypical, like I myself, I wear very colourful clothing, I'm very camp, very out there. Someone who isn't like that, someone who perhaps wouldn't be seen, someone wouldn't assume is gay, that kind of surprise at finding out that they are, like, you know, what, and that can be quite problematic.
I feel like the problem isn't gaydar. I feel like the problem is representation in media on every level about the diversity within the queer community. So like when you look at a gay guy in TV, he's always the same, you know, camp, white, skinny, young male. Like we need to have more diversity so that someone like Jasmine isn't seen as invisible. Like no one's surprised when Jasmine's like, yeah, I'm gay, because we need to see more types. Like, and it's a lot of things. It's not just like race and physical and how you move and behave, but it's your interests, you know. Gay dudes that are into like watching, I don't know, like race cars as opposed to watching, I don't know. I don't know.
Totally.
What do you guys watch?
I think what you mentioned.
Queer Eye from the straight guy, I don't know, yeah.
I think what you mentioned earlier is really spot on though about the idea that I guess, you know, people shouldn't be offended by the idea of, you know, because I've encountered people before. I mean, I've dated people who see the idea of me saying, oh, that person, I think that person's gay, as being very like a no-no. Like, you know, you shouldn't say that. That's really detrimental and negative. Because it almost implies that to assume that to think someone is gay is a bad thing. You know, like to be gay is a bad thing. You know, by extension. So I completely agree with that.
Because like there'll be times when I'll say, oh, I think he might be gay, and someone will be like, oh, why? What makes you think he's gay? But if I said that about a straight person, oh, I think he's straight. No one's gonna ask, oh, can you justify? Like, can you tell me why you think he's straight? So yeah, I think it comes down to that.
It's also like a survival thing as well. When like, you know, gay people get like kind of, as you're saying, like pegged as like gay or lesbian. It's like, oh, I'm like being read as that by straight people specifically. Like, as me, like a gay guy, I can like, you know, look at a gay guy and be like, yeah, sure, he's gay, like whatever. But like if a straight person is now like reading these like gay people as gay, it can be kind of like, it can be kind of a scary thing where it's like, am I like, because you want to kind of control how you're outing yourself to straight people, and then if you find out that you're doing it just by literally standing there or like walking or talking or whatever it is, it's like, it's a bit scary because it's out of your control.
Yeah.
I think earlier on, maybe when I was younger, like the way I presented perhaps wasn't as camp, but I think now that I'm aware that, you know, this very much identifies myself to strangers, I actually feel like I own that. Like I actually really enjoy that. I like the idea of being in a public space and people being very aware that I'm not, you know, heterosexual. I shouldn't say heterosexual because I didn't say that, I assume that, but like, you know, I like the idea of outwardly presenting as that without even having to say anything. So yeah, I think that like the idea of a gaydar, as much as this name might suggest it's a bit silly, like is quite legitimate and act, you know, in many instances. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Oh, did you have anything else to add, Chrisi? Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on The Talk, and we'll see you next time on Bent TV.
Think before you speak.
I just got it. The last time I told you, when you told your mother and your mother told me that you told her the secret, I told you not to tell me.
Hi everyone, you're watching Bent TV and you're watching Lip Service, where we help you solve your problems. And to help me, of course, is our regular panel, Craig, Anthony, and Leanne. Hi. Okay, let's get stuck in with Johnson. Johnson has called in. Johnson has been with his partner for 8 weeks now, and apparently Johnson's partners, he described them as random insecurities.
Okay.
Are leading to him making last-minute cancellations. He actually comes out with statements along the lines of, you're too good for me, I don't feel I deserve you, and then, you know, cancels at the last minute. So Johnson's finding this...
So it's a new relationship of sorts?
8 weeks.
8 weeks, okay.
But the partner's insecurities about him being, in his eyes, too good for him is actually causing a problem. How can we help them? What do you think, Anthony?
Well, is Johnson the insecure one, or the partner is?
The partner.
Well, Johnson's inheriting some baggage here from previous relationships, I reckon it sounds like. I mean, his partner's bringing in all sorts of heavy stuff for Johnson to try and sort through. He should tell his partner to go to therapy, maybe sort it out there.
Therapy. Okay.
And so early in the relationship to be so sort of insecure and negative, you know, it's just negativity that's compounded, constantly compounded. It's not attractive, is it? So what is he trying to do? Sabotage at an early stage? Possibly. It seems to me that It'll all end in tears if it keeps going that way.
Insecurity is not attractive.
It does sound like a pattern, doesn't it? Pattern of behaviour that could become difficult. Have a chat about it. Maybe they don't realise how much impact it's having on Johnson or how it's coming across. But, you know, not going through with dates and things, 8 weeks is not going to become 8 years at this rate, is it? Or 8 months even, really.
Doesn't bode well, I'm afraid, Johnson. Yeah. I think we should finish that one.
Just finish it, Johnson.
Finish that one. Okay, this one is from Andy. He met a man through some friends, and they swapped numbers, and they've got this sort of texting relationship going on. So they haven't actually gone beyond this initial meeting at this party of some kind.
Do we know how long this has been going on, this texting thing?
Does he tell us that? It's been going on for 6 weeks. Oh. So there have been lots of texting, some saucy texting, but whenever Andy broaches the subject of shall we meet, it kind of stops for a little while and then he starts again.
So they're not actually seeing each other then? Or
so does he just want to text buddy, do we think?
Sounds like it. Or are they in another relationship? Could be the text on the side.
Nice one, Leanne.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, he could be on the B list of the guy he's texting, because if you're on the A list, you're getting the date. I mean, you're going around, you're having sex, you're meeting, really. If you're on the B list, he's probably just keeping him on ice until, his A lists start to sort of...
okay. So it's his black book, this is his kind of not so black book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right, okay.
Very good point. Yeah.
So it doesn't really bode well then. No.
Well, nothing changes.
Well, unless he's happy with the texting relationship, I suppose.
So Andy's tried to meet him, but
he's in the texting relationship and says, shall we meet then? Shall we get to catch up?
Not happening.
He kind of avoids the issue.
Well, he met through a friend of didn't they meet through a mutual friend?
Apparently.
Maybe he should chat with the mutual friend and say, what's Bugluck's Tex's story?
Yeah, what's his circumstance?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so what's his circumstances, Andy? That's what we think you should look into on that one. Does sound a bit strange, though. Yeah. We had kind of a similar one last time. This is poor old Felix. They're only young, 19 years old, and already their relationship has resorted to a peck on the cheek and a goodnight hug. I don't know, is the relationship...
So what's early? We don't know how long Felix has been involved.
Well, 19 and 20, they should be shagging like rabbits, shouldn't they?
Once again, it's an assumption, but, sure. You'd want to be, wouldn't you?
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while ago, I can't quite remember.
It's in the history book
It's
somewhere.
in the history book somewhere, that is true, yeah.
The stone tablet. No.
Leanne?
Well, it does sound awfully unusual. Someone's adding to it, are they? One of them's not...
Well, Felix is clearly not happy with that. Felix
Yeah.
wants more than that, right?
Yeah.
Sounds all very polite, doesn't it? I agree. When you're that young, you're shagging, you're bonking each other's brains out, and then you're asking about names and where you're from and what do you do.
That's right. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is I'm not sure we've given you much to go on there, mate, but sorry, Felix. But this is from an anonymous caller. This anonymous caller had been seeing a co-worker. It all been going pretty well, pretty hot stuff, apparently. Turned out the co-worker has a partner who has discovered this at-work relationship, and now the colleague is blanking her.
Oh, okay.
And it's making working life very difficult.
Oh, there's a lesson to be learned there, isn't there? Yes.
And what lesson is that? Oh,
Well, don't shag the crew, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never been involved with colleagues sexually, so, but,
Absolute taboo. Have you,
But
Anthony?
it does make no, I haven't. But it does make life very interesting for everyone else at work who are in on this and get to know it. So she's actually perhaps making life very interesting for her colleagues. So good for you.
If they know about it.
Gossip at the water cooler.
that's right.
Excellent. So on that level, it's quite a
Well, surely
positive thing.
she would have known about the partner before she got involved with the co-worker,
Yeah.
You'd think they'd know that much when you're spending that much time with people. Just saying.
So you're suggesting people should fill out a questionnaire before they start shagging?
Well, not necessarily, but you're involved together at work.
Yeah.
You know a lot of about people when you're working with people 8 hours a day, don't you? You would know that they're with
I think
your
it's only stopped because the co-worker's partners found out. I reckon it would have kept going if they hadn't got
I think what
sprung.
Anonymous was saying.
So the feelings are still there,
Right.
Yes,
which is, I think, creates a real problem for those people's manager.
Sure.
This is
in a
more
workplace,
complex
really.
thinking.
I think it's time for someone to move on to another job.
Oh, it's clearly going to all end in tears. Anonymous.
So, how is she going to resolve this situation? We've
Leave
only
the
got a minute
job.
left. Quick.
Leave the job.
Leave the
Sounds
job?
extreme, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, if it's difficult.
Is that all the advice
What
we've
if
got?
she needs
Leave
the
the
job? Yeah, because she might not be able to or want to. Let's assume she isn't able to.
Yes.
Well, put up with it then. It's sort of like
I don't think there's
she's
too
made
much
the bed, now
choice,
she's got
is
to lie
there?
in it, really.
Yeah.
Yes, rod for own back.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him, but that's a good suggestion.
Good old Rod. Alrighty, thanks very much, guys. That's all we have time for. Please send in your problems. We are here to help. You've been watching Lip Service. I want to say thank you to Craig, Anthony, and Leanne. Good night. You've been watching Ben TV.
Hello, you're watching Staying Alive. This is a panel show about our ageing community. We've got Gordon here. Look here, Gordon. Gordon, very ageing community.
Very
here.
ageing.
And then I've got to say I'm getting there as well. I'm David. This is Leanne.
Yeah, almost
and
ageing.
This is Greg. Like sometimes it's really hard when all of a sudden you've actually got to say, yes, I'm old.
I haven't reached that age yet.
I agree that you've got to say you're old at some time. I've been doing a lot of gardening this week and using all muscles I haven't used for before, and it's actually been killing me. And this is the topic that we're going to talk about today, is the services for people living alone within our community. Now, you might not have a partner like me. I don't have a partner, and you might not have family to support you. Like my family live in another state. I do have dear friends here that hopefully will support me. But it is a really tough one, isn't it? When do you decide to get Meals on Wheels or whatever? I'll use an example. There's somebody that's just moved into my units, and he's gay. And he's got MS, and it's early stages, but he said within 12 months he's going to have to have a wheelchair. Now, I can see that he is starting to put a few things into place, and also he's exchanged numbers. He said, could I call you if I needed help at any time? And I went, of course, absolutely. So, he is sitting, and quite often people arrive there and they only stay for half an hour, and I think that he's probably getting to that stage where, and I want to be friendly as much as I can with him, because he's going to need me, isn't he? And he's only just moved in, so it's obviously going to be his place where he's going to live for a long time. Greg, what do you think?
Well, as we get older, I mean, you're from South Australia, so I suppose you age a little bit quicker than us in Victoria, and that's okay. I'm sure we'll have
Is that the time difference, or the wine, or the...
It's the time difference, Leanne. It's
half an hour.
But you're right, though. At some point, we'll need to start working out how to have the best life possible, and that may need intervention by people. It might need some extra time or some changes around the home. Might need some rails down the steps, or something to blend the food and make it a bit softer, David. But we'll need something there to start making our lives as full and as free as we can as we get a bit older.
Gordon, you're very well equipped, and you're very capable.
We're here.
No, I don't mean like that. But you're very capable still. You're still very active. You're still involved with Vintage Men. You're still part of art classes. You do a radio show. So you're out and about a fair bit in the community, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, but I'm rather fortunate that I come from a long line of living people. I have centenarians on both sides of the family, and they all had. It's all genetics when you get to it, but it still doesn't alter the fact that there's going to be some time in the future where I'm going to have to start calling on someone. I have a younger partner, which is a hell of a help, but it's just one of those things. But there comes a time when you do really need to call on someone, and to know which services are available for you is the thing that you should start looking at.
That's right. That's the key, I think, is people to know what's available, number one. But because, I mean, the person you're talking about, the guy with MS, obviously the MS Society is very good at providing home care and information for people. So if someone, their doctor or whatever is going on for them, say it's around dementia or whatever, there are already programs in place that will help people, guide them through what sort of things they'll need, when they'll need them, whether that's to adjust things at home with, showering and things like that. Local councils are a fantastic resource.
They are.
Providing home and community care.
And it's often a case, though, that we can jump on a computer and find it with the local local councils, but a lot of people aren't all that savvy with the computer. What do they do?
Well, it's a matter of getting into the system in terms of finding out. So local libraries, citizens advice bureaus, neighbourhood houses. If someone wants to call out, Switchboard doesn't necessarily have contacts for mainstream services, but we certainly have information around LGBTI support services and things like that. So,
is it something we need to look at? We should be looking at it now because where a lot of us are getting older.
Yeah, that's right.
What about the gaps? They have men's sheds for men getting old. They have women's groups for women getting old in the straight world. What about gay men's sheds and lesbian sheds? What about establishing something that
I suppose
isn't
there's
there for
Vintage
us?
Men, Matrix Guild.
Well, but activity focus. We actually go down to the park and you do stuff together, or you've got a room or a space that you can actually do things together, or you hop in the bus and you go to Mardi Gras each year, and you pack 40 people off to Mardi Gras that are a bit older and can collaborate together.
That's true too, but once upon you get to the point too with a group like Vintage Men, where we've got one particularly elderly gentleman, and he is getting to be a bit of a problem. He's still living by himself, but he has a care person that comes in to make sure he's okay. But we tried to get him into a nursing home or an aged care facility, but he doesn't want to go, of course. So
that's the problem.
Therefore, you can't do much. But eventually it's going to happen. He is going to have to find somebody because he eventually will not be able to look after himself.
Often it's a crisis. That something happens that then necessitates
they fall and they don't get picked up for 2 days or something.
Which is a bit sad because it's not always someone having control over their destiny.
Well, I look at myself. If I fell getting out of the shower because it's over a bath, who's going to be aware
We've
of?
got 3 of us here that'll rush over and pick you up.
But we won't know.
Who will know?
Who will know?
There'll be an empty chair on this panel and we'll be going, where is he?
I'm just laying there going, I should be here.
Well, that actually happened to a friend of mine. He collapsed in the bar in a shower, and he was there for 2 days.
Well, you hear about people dying, and they
he
find
didn't
the
die,
body
but he
a
was
month
very
later.
injured.
Who's going to get David's snow cone collection?
That's right. Is that in the will?
Hey, that is one of the most important things that in my life. Who's going to get my snow domes?
Someone who's going to appreciate it.
I'd better be, or not somebody just take them down the tip and get rid of them.
Take a lot of trips to the tip.
Yeah, well, a lot in storage.
Time we finish.
But it's time that we've got to close this. If you are out there and you're living by yourself, you've got to start thinking about your future and put a few things in place, and maybe move out of that house because it's probably too big for you anyway. Thanks for watching today. Move in with me with my snow domes and my garden gnomes. Thanks, Greg, for being on the panel today. Thanks, Leanne, for being on the panel. And thank you, Gordon, as well.
No problem. Thank you for being here too.
I'm David, and we'll see you next time on Staying Alive.